Hey guys, welcome to another video, and today we're going to talk about 10 more modern beat 'em ups that I think you guys should play. Now, some of these games are new, some are old, but I feel like they deserve to be on this list because they've aged well over time. Now, some games that didn't make it into the last list actually made it into this list. A lot of people will probably be happy because some people were upset that some games got left out, but I had valid reasons for leaving them out the original list. But anyways, 10 more modern beat 'em ups you guys should try out. Let's get into it. Alright, so here is Skinny and Franco Fist of Violence. Now, when I played this game, I was pretty much blown away with how violent this game is. You know, it has some crazy stuff in it, which I'll get to in a bit. But the developers put a lot of detail into this game, and even with the story, I would say. Now, the story dialogue has like a deep, I want to say, Russian accent, so you'll have to listen clearly to understand what they're saying. But of course, you got subtitles to read what they're saying. But man, it gets crazy. Now, I don't want to get too much into the story because we'll be here forever, but first thing I liked about this game is that they did things different from the first level of a beat 'em up. Instead of going to the right, you actually go to the left, which I thought was great. The game had me cracking up because you'll get a guy asking you for a cigarette. You say you don't have a cigarette, and he'll get pissed off and want to fight you. It's just like the gibberish that they say to each other before they fight is just hilarious. Well, what makes this game stand out for a lot of other games is the realism in this game. Like, if a beat 'em up was a video game, like a real life video game, this is probably the closest game to it because this game is so gritty. I mean, in a real street fight, when there were no rules, I mean, people are getting bones broken, faces busted up, and what's crazy about this game is it shows the damage on each character, like your character and the characters you're beating up. Now, the only problem I had with this game was that I felt like the levels may go on longer than they should. Now, they're very entertaining. Like, for an example, like you'll have a guy that got beat up by you. He's laid out on the ground and a dog will come and grab his face, which is hilarious. Like, stuff like that goes on throughout the level. So you're always seeing funny stuff like that going on in the background. Now, even though I don't like the length of some of the levels, I feel like this game has a lot going for it. You know, you get 8 levels to deal with, and each boss is pretty unique to how you defeat them. Like, the first boss kept regenerating energy, and I couldn't understand how to stop him from doing it. And when he regenerates energy, he would just go and sit on the bench and catch his breath. All I had to do was knock him off the bench, and it was over. I didn't even realize that. I thought it was like some kind of cinematic where he's gonna just fall out and like pass out, but it was pretty hilarious. So definitely cool, like stuff like that in this game. So I would say definitely check this game out. Hopefully this game, I feel like it's a game that should get a physical release. I think it should, you know, despite, you know, the levels being a bit long. But, you know, a lot of effort went into this game, and I appreciate that. So hopefully this game has some updates coming out in the future where, you know, maybe we'll get a physical for it, maybe some online play. We'll see what happens. But, man, this game is as brutal as it gets, and I think most people will like it, you know, unless you have like a bad sense of like you don't like to see violence or something like that. But anyways, guys, definitely check this one out. River City Girls Part 2. Now, I understand why people were upset that I didn't include this game in the last video. And one of the reasons I didn't include it was because I usually kind of like skip past the story mode. Now, the gameplay was great, but I thought like the story mode would kind of turn people off from it. But, you know, since they added some new features to this game, I felt like, you know what, I had to add the sequel to the list. Now, the feature I was most impressed with was the inclusion of online play. Yes, you could play online with friends, and it's fairly easy. It was kind of crazy because when I played the game, you know, I opened online pretty much, and nobody was on there. So I was like, dang, man, no one's playing online. And all of a sudden, someone joined me, and we went through a great portion of the game. It was so much fun just having someone randomly join me and help me out. So that's why I tell people, man, like the inclusion of online play is essential for beat 'em up games, for everybody to get that full value out of them. And River City Girls 2 does that. Now, if you already liked the first game, you're definitely going to enjoy this one. Inclusion of new characters. I like that you get to play as the River City Boys from the beginning. You could choose from 4 characters from the beginning of the game, which is cool. And then I think there's 2 unlockable. One of them is actually Marion from Double Dragon, but you won't recognize her because they gave her a masculine look. So I guess a lot of the people like that kind of look with women now. It's like, really? But I remember Marion as, the girl got kidnapped in the first Double Dragon, but now they're making her just all unrecognizable. But anyways, give this game a go. Xiao Mei and the Dragon's Fist. Hopefully I pronounced that right, but I'm sure somebody will let me know in the comment section. But this game, now, I feel it's very similar to old school Kung Fu, but some people might compare it to Black Belt, which is actually Fist of the North Star on the Sega Master System if you played that game. Now, I'm pretty sure the developers got inspiration from those games, but not only did they get inspiration, but they really expanded upon it. So, obviously, they added a lot of story to this game, so each level has its own different story, like the boss you fight has their own little different story they add to the game, which is really cool. And in the beginning of the game, you play as 2 sisters. Well, you have to unlock the second sister by beating the game as the first sister. But going into the gameplay, it's pretty simple, but it keeps you on your toes. It pretty much tests your reflexes. So the game is beautiful to look at, but man, the enemies on the screen, you gotta be fast and take them out quickly because they will suck down your energy with a quickness. Now currently I'm on the last level and I'm struggling a bit because the last level really throws everything at you, so you have to be very careful while going through it. But the game does give you health during the levels to kind of replenish your health before you fight a boss, and the checkpoints are very respectable. It doesn't throw you all the way back at the beginning of the level, like you continue at a checkpoint, which is really nice. Well, mainly a checkpoint when you're at a boss. But even though I'm stuck in the game right now, the game is very beautiful to look at, it's very fun to play, and I think it's worth making this list. So definitely, if you see this on your store, check it out. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, at the bottom left-hand side of the screen here, that's your special attack. So on the ground, you can do the Dragon Fist Punch, which goes a certain distance or does significant damage to strong enemies. Or you can do the aerial kick. It's like a spin kick if you're in the air. So pretty cool, very unique. You're going to need that special move because these enemies will swarm you. Also, I want to give a shout out to AJ Splutter for letting me know about this game. I feel like if he didn't tell me about this game, I would have never knew about it. So I appreciate you, man. Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the game. Now, this originally came out, I think it was 2011, maybe even 12, as digital download for the Xbox Live and PSN networks. Now, what drew a lot of people to this game was, of course, with the 16-bit look, very nostalgic. But not only nostalgic, man, this is a great beat-em-up game, and it's a great introduction to beat-em-up games as well, especially if you guys have seen the movie or read the comics of Scott Pilgrim. Now, I personally have not read the comics or watched the movie. I tried to watch it, could not get into it. Just not for me. But the game is freaking fantastic, and it pretty much got a resurgence thanks to the re-release on the PlayStation 4, and I think it got a physical release on Switch as well, and also as digital as well. So a lot more people got to experience this game. Now, when I played this game back in the day, there wasn't many people like joining you online, so I pretty much played it solo. But playing it with its re-release, a lot more people were online. You get to experience the game in its full. Like having 4 people join you in a beat 'em up game is freaking wild and fantastic, and it's a great experience. But other than that, this game has so much going for it. With the characters you can pick, all the levels, the secrets, it's just so much, and it's just, man. I mean, it's definitely one of the top beat 'em ups I think of all time. Yes, I'm going there. So if you see this one out there, well, obviously you can get it as digital, but if you want a physical, I would say definitely pick it up. Alright, so here is 99 Vidas. Now, this game is actually very similar to Scott Pilgrim, but I actually prefer this one over Scott Pilgrim. Now, I know a lot of people will heckle me over that, and that's okay. We can talk about it in the comment section. But this is pretty much, I feel like, an unknown beat 'em up. And one of the things about this game is that this is one of the cool games that includes online play. So I'm hoping to get the word out about this game. Maybe some people will pick it up, see more people playing it online. Who knows? But it would be pretty awesome to have more people playing this game online, because this game gets very difficult towards the end. And I feel like me and my friends got cheated when we almost beat this game towards, like, I think it was like a couple of years ago we played it, and we got cheated. But still, that didn't take away from how much I like the game, so really feel it needs to be on this list. Now, for those of you that decide to pick this game up, I just want to let you guys know, of course, the game is available digital, Switch, and PS4. But if you're hardcore enough to get the physical copy of the game, the Switch version actually has a DLC embedded on the cart. So they had the extra levels like The First of Us and a couple other spoof levels from games, and Streets of Rage is another game they kind of spoofed in one of their levels. But definitely, like I said, this is a game is something you guys want to pick up. So hope to see you online, and hope to debate you in the comments section about which is better. All right, so starting the list off, we have Double Dragon Neon. Had to get a physical for this game. Ever since the PS3 version that came out for this game, I was hoping it would get a physical. And this game is, you know, back in the day, I was kind of iffy about it, but once I played it and got used to it, I really started to enjoy it. So I'm really happy this game got a physical release. Now, you have not played this game. It's kind of a throwback of the old school games in kind of like in a comical way, I would say. It also has a really good soundtrack, especially level 2. I think this song is called Mango Tango Neon Night or something like that. Man, whoever put that track together, man, that was on point, because even I'm listening to it like in my car. So definitely a good soundtrack. The moves and stuff like that take a bit to get used to, like compared to the older games, I would say. But once you get used to them, they're easy to pull off. You can pretty much knock your enemies back and do crazy combos and stuff like that. If you have not played this game, you owe it to yourself to give this game a try. It is a lot of fun, and with two people, even better. The game doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just funny, hilarious, silly. Some stuff is really funny in the game, so definitely check this one out, guys.
I think they went in there. It seems like a trap, but I gotta find Marion.
So here's Dungeons & Dragons Shadow over Mystara collection. So this consists of 2 Dungeons & Dragons games, Shadow Mystara being the best one. Man, this game is so good. I wanted to get a physical release of this version because they actually released it as digital on the PSN store, but that game only goes up to 720p, and this one goes to 1080p. There's a couple of differences that I can't remember all right now, but it's definitely worth having a physical, even though this game is in Japanese, but you can still play the game pretty easy. Now, the footage I'm showing you here is still the American version, so you guys can see like certain spells and attacks and stuff. But me and my buddy X were playing this online. It was a lot of fun. And I just like, when we played it online, I said, you know, I have to have a physical of this game, because you just never know. You know, this game deserves to have history, so I wanted to like grab a physical copy of it. Most beat 'em ups are pretty straightforward, but this one has a bunch of hidden paths, different moves you can unlock. It's just really well done. And what you're seeing here, the footage of me and my buddy X playing. Now, my 2 favorite characters in the game is the magic user and the thief. I think they are the best characters in the game. They are very fun to use, and they always are my characters of choice. But no matter who you use, you're going to have a good time in this game. But do know that each character plays very differently, so you have to practice them out to see who fits you the best.
Is that the bed?
Reverse ground.
So one of my favorite beat 'em up games of all time is Super Battletoads, also known as Battletoads the arcade game. Now, for people who want to play this game, it's actually available on the Rare Replay collection for the Xbox One. Now, I remember playing this game back in the arcades, and I immensely enjoyed it, and I always hoped that it would get a console release. There's an OLED Super Nintendo version out there that's complete, but I'm not too sure about that now. But 25 years later, we finally got a home console release for the Xbox One system. Now, out of all the Battletoads games out there, I consider this to be the best one ever. I mean, this one really stepped it up. I mean, the violence that this game adds is pretty outrageous, and it blew me away back in the day. I had never seen this kind of violence in a video game. This is like the first time I've seen like some crazy stuff. Another reason I consider this to be one of the best Battletoads games is because it's straightforward. It's a beat 'em up. It's not trying to do all those different things like the original NES game was. It's just pretty simple and fun. Here's Golden Force. I talked about this game briefly on my channel a couple years back, and I wanted to kind of talk about it again because a lot of people should know about this game. This is an action platform beat 'em up, kind of reminiscent to the old school, like a 16-bit era, I would say. Now, this game has a lot of great ideas, but unfortunately, if you play solo, it's kind of tough. It's still fun, but I just wish that they would have implemented what I always talk about, online play. Now, you can do that shared play stuff, but you got to have pristine connection for it to work properly. But anyways, definitely a fun game. As you can see here, I would say you guys should definitely check it out. Here is Knights of Valor. This is one of the many beat 'em ups that's probably been lost to people like over time. You know, I don't know if this was popular in arcades when it was in arcades. I don't really know. This came out when arcades were pretty much almost dead in the United States. So a lot of people probably don't know about this game, but this is a 2-player beat 'em up. In the arcade, it might have been a 4-player beat 'em up. I'm not really sure, but the game is beautiful to look at. Lots of beautiful character sprites on screen, lots of characters to fight on screen at once, so it gets pretty hectic. But I think if you're a beat 'em up fan, this is one you might want to check out.